Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. We have got an amazing show lined up for you tonight. I cannot wait to bring on our special guest expert. You are going to love her. She is an amazing young woman who is on fire. She is just a trailblazer who is helping women, female entrepreneurs, and men too, to be the best they can be. And I cannot wait to bring her on. And it will be very soon, I promise. But first, the Mind Body Business Show. What is that all about? Well, for any of you that have not seen the show before, real quickly, it's all about the 3 pillars of success that I call it, that I've found in my travels. I have been studying successful people. And what I found is those successful people exhibited similar patterns and traits. And they all stemmed from these 3 areas, one being mind or mindset. Mindset being the subconscious mind, having an empowered, rock solid, positive. And it's not all just about positive mindset. It's about reprogramming your brain for greater effectiveness and success in your life. And the beautiful thing is our guest tonight, Micaela, is an NLP expert, as am I. So we're going to have fun tonight talking a little bit about mindset as well as other things. And body. I noticed that successful people tend to take care of themselves. And I mean physically. That's by exercising regularly. It doesn't mean you have to exercise every single day of the week. It doesn't mean, guys, that you need to become a bodybuilder and look like Arnold did in his heyday. And ladies, it doesn't mean that you have to look like a supermodel. It's not about looks. It's about feel. It's about performance. And when you exercise on a regular basis, so many unbelievable positive benefits transpire. And we're not talking just exercise when it comes to body. It's also about nutrition and the things that you feed your body, the things you intake. And that was another trait I noticed amongst successful people. And then the third, of course, which is the sweet spot for everyone watching, is business. And business is multifaceted. And I found that those that are successful have mastered many of the areas that it takes to become successful in business. And that includes things like marketing, sales, systematizing, team building, scaling. It goes on and on. And the good news is a lot of that may sound, it may sound like it's just too much. Brian, I can't master all those. The good news is you don't have to, because you can outsource those things that aren't in your wheelhouse and bring on a team to help you. And collectively, you master all of these areas, and then you become successful. And that's why I formed this show, was to help you, the viewer. This show is for you. It's not for me. It's not for Micaela and all my other past guests. It's for you to learn, to model from those who are successful, who have achieved a level of success that you desire to achieve. And one final thing that I remember that most very successful people do is they are avid readers. They are very into reading books that help in all of these 3 areas. So with that, I'd like to very quickly segue into a segment I affectionately name Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yeah, there you see it on my side. This is reachyourpeaklibrary.com. And real quickly, for those of you watching right now live, or even if you're watching or listening as a recording, please do yourself a favor and take notes rather than going off and looking at resources. So Micaela and I will be giving you resources, different websites as the show progresses, Reach Your Peak Library being one of them. And the key is that the magic happens in the room, as they say. And so if you're happen to be off looking at websites or researching other information while the show is going, then it's very likely you're going to miss one of the most valuable pieces of information that could be life-changing from Micaela. When I bring her on, she's going to be bringing a ton of value. So I'd really not want for you to miss anything. So just stay with us, take notes, write it down if you can, physically using a pen and paper, because you'll retain it much better. But Reach Your Peak Library, what is that? I literally put that website together for you, with you in mind, the entrepreneur, the business person, the person looking to find ways to get farther faster. And what I've done is I've compiled a list of books that I've personally vetted. I've read all the books in this list. In fact, far more. I've fallen way behind in updating this list. But there are plenty here for you to choose from. And all of these just strictly go to like Amazon. So you click a button and you can purchase the book on Amazon in any of the forms that you desire, Audible or hardcover or Kindle. You get to choose. But the key is to start reading if you are not reading already. If you are reading already, this is a good list you can go to, and you might find a gem or two in here that you have not yet read. This just helps you to save some time in sifting and sorting when it comes to finding the perfect book to read the next one. And by the way, perfect book. It doesn't need to be perfect. The first one that jumps off the page that you haven't read yet, just pick it and go with it and read it. Take action. Action takers are rewarded. Speaking of action takers, we have an amazing person waiting in the wings, chomping at the bit. I cannot wait to bring her on. In fact, guess what? We're not going to wait any longer. Let's bring her on right now. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Micaela Passeri.
You got it.
Yes, I've been practicing that name all night. Well, a little bit, not too long. How are you doing, Micaela?
I'm doing much better today. I've been sick for the last couple of days, so much better today. Thank you.
Well, you look fabulous. You wouldn't know it from our end. Just glowing, literally, right now.
Thank you.
Up in that beautiful high rise. You're in Los Angeles, downtown as we speak. Is that correct?
I am. I'm at the City Club here in LA. And unfortunately, you can't see the skylight anymore because it's dark. You can see a little bit of the lights right there, but it was a beautiful sunset a few minutes ago.
Yeah, just moments ago as we were talking pre-show, it was gorgeous back there. But you know what? That would distract from your beauty, so we're good. We're good. So real quick, what I want to do, Micaela, is to introduce you. But before I do that, real quick, I want to remind all of our viewers, listeners, that stay on to the end, because those that do, you'll have an opportunity to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in beautiful Mexico. And this is all compliments of our good friends at powertexting.com. They are sponsoring this show with that trip. The owner of powertexting.com himself has used this very service, this vacation that we're offering for free. He has gone on a vacation to Mexico now 5 times. So it is not one of those timeshares that you're going to end up being wrestled into once you show up. It's 100% above board, and you get to enjoy yourself. So stick on to the end for that. Now, speaking of value, speaking of fun, let's bring on our wonderful guest, Micaela. She is an award-winning emotional intelligence expert, international speaker, author, and founder of the Love You Revolution training programs, who is committed to helping entrepreneurs identify, resolve, and release emotional and mental blocks in the way of their full success by freeing themselves from the conditioning of their life experiences and the trapped emotions hidden in the subconscious mind. Ooh, remember at the opening, we talked about the I'm so excited. This is going to be fun. She helps her clients resolve issues such as low self-confidence. These are big. Inner conflict, anxiety, fears. Everyone has fears. Procrastination. I don't procrastinate. Well, yes, everyone does. Limiting beliefs. That's rampant for sure. Depression and business stagnation. There's one that hits home for a lot of people. She's trained in NLP, MER, and emotion code. Micaela helps people on a soulful journey to discover their voice, become more self-aware, and master their inner and outer relating to the world. This is like right down the path of all the NLP stuff that I've come to know and learn from the training. This is phenomenal. She's also the founder of the Love You Revolution clothing line. Talk about accomplished. former co-president of the Santa Monica Holistic Chamber of Commerce, and current regional director for the Global Women Club of Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, I now formally introduce to you Miss Micaela Passeri.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. And
Man,
you read my bio really great. I've never heard it read that way.
oh, cool.
I might have to record you next time.
Well, it just so happens it is recorded. You can use that anytime you want if it helps you in any way. That's what you and I are all about, entrepreneurs. We love to connect people, to help people, to serve people. We're here to help each other, lift each other up, not to compete and push other people down. I can tell that from the moment I met you. This is several months ago during the summer, I believe, Micaela, and that it was a amazing event there. And I could just sense right away that you have that heart of serving. And
thank you.
You know, just reading your bio, I could tell you're there for people. And what I wanted to do is what I love to do every single show is, so the bio tells us about your accolades. It gives us a good background of your experience, of the things you've accomplished. And then what I like to do is shift gears a little bit. And now let's go a little bit more inward. And we're not going to go too deep, don't worry. But what I want to do is, what I want to do is find out what makes successful people such as yourselves tick mentally. What's going on in that beautiful mind of yours? And so, like, I like to talk about, like, when you get up in the morning, right? If you're like me, not everyone is, but if you're like me, you wake up a little groggy. You kind of raise up, you swivel around, your feet hit the floor, you start to, awaken. And then that drive kicks in. All of the things that you've done, that you've trained your mind to do, that you've reprogrammed your mind for, in your case with NLP and others, when it comes to maintaining your positive and productive and successful mindset, what is it that you do, Micaela, on a regular basis to sustain this? Because it's not always perfectly easy, is it?
No, it's not. And it is, it is part of life. It's effort, and you have to be committed to doing it, right? It's not something that you can just kind of haphazardly have happen. So you've got to be committed, and you've got to make a choice to do it. So the things that I love to do every day are meditate. I just recently completed a course in Vedic meditation. So I love to do my 2 meditation 20-minute sections every day. So I meditate, which to really ground myself and really relax and lower my stress response. So meditation is the first one. I also have affirmations. I actually wrote a book on affirmations and how to write affirmations. So there are certain affirmations that I say every day, and sometimes I retire some when I feel complete, and sometimes I write new ones, but I'm saying my affirmations every day. And then I write my goals down. So I really write down what it is that I want to accomplish, whether it's for the day or even, at month's end or a few months down the line or next year. I've got a list of the things that I want to bring into my life so that I can ensure that I experience my life deeply and with fulfillment.
Fantastic. And one thing I noticed, another pattern that I hear and notice every single successful entrepreneur, and that's everyone that's been on the show, always have their own specified routine. Either it's in the morning or it's the night before or a combination of both, but every single time anyone who has achieved success in their business and in their life has a routine. And I liken that to something I call discipline. And I don't mean that in the negative term that many think about. It's a positive thing to have discipline, to have a routine. And the thing is, if you don't have a routine, this is what I like to tell viewers and listeners, is go ahead and model what Micaela is doing. It's successful for her. It doesn't mean it will be for you, but at least start. And start with affirmations. That's a beautiful thing. And your goals, review your goals and update your goals on a daily basis. Yeah. And those are all phenomenal. Those are just phenomenal tips to go forward. Affirmations specifically, even with, NLP, we go into the subconscious mind. Affirmations is a conscious level effort. It is still very powerful. as you obviously know because you practice it, and so do I. And so these are nuggets already. For those of you that are watching and listening, I hope you're writing notes already, because this is how we roll. We just provide supreme value, and that's why I bring on the best like Micaela to share her with you, because this is all about her. She's an amazing woman.
Thank you.
Speaking of amazing woman, you're very welcome. Speaking of amazing woman, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of skills and skill sets to acquire to become successful in any business. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think for some people, some stuff can happen a lot faster and easier than others. And sometimes it's phase of our lives. Like I can speak for myself. There was a phase in my life where success happened really fast and kind of like unconsciously. And then there was another phase in my life where it was actually efforting. And that's because, as you and I know, it's what's down in the subconscious mind, especially if we've experienced things that were producing a lot of negative emotions and a lot of a negative self-talk. We might, right, deal with our actions and our success in a different way. So absolutely, it is an effort, especially when you have very specific goals and very big goals that you want to accomplish. So it's about commitment and taking action.
Yeah, and I loved in the bio that you wrote, it was amazing. I loved reading the part about, freeing people from the conditioning of their life experiences, because that's what happens, right? That's how we come up with our own specific limiting beliefs. It has nothing to do with reality. It's only our own life experience that programmed us into believing that. And it's not like it's your fault. And the good news is any limiting belief you have can be overwritten. If you want to think of a program, you can just overwrite it with something more empowering through using tools like neuro-linguistic programming, like Micaela can help you with. And that's amazing. That was something I learned somewhat recently. It was, 7-8 years ago. And then it just changed my life forever. That's all it did. Not a big deal. Just changed. I mean, and I'm not a dramatic person. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that every day. The only thing I say that changed my life is NLP, because it did profoundly. And the reason I'm bringing that up and kind of emphasizing it is if you are looking to have your life changed in a wonderful, profound, very safe arena, then we will give you a means to connect with Micaela at the end of the show. And don't go off searching for her now. Don't do that. You can write down her name. That's fine. But stick with us because she's got more golden nuggets for you. It's amazing. And that's where I found, Micaela, that all success, whether you have it or not, it all comes from one place, the same place, and it's our mind. Right. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I wanted to say to something that you just spoke about is that it is part of the human experience. Conditioning is part of the human experience. Nobody escapes it. Doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor, what color your skin, how much money you got in your bank account. Everybody gets conditioned, but that's just because we're human, right? And so it's how then once we become aware, right, of our patterns and our conditioning is what we do with it, because everything is an interpretation. It's how we relate to the experiences that we're experiencing and what we make up about ourselves and the world about that experience. And so, I like to say, if it's to be, it's up to me. So if I want to create something, I get to decide how, and I get to decide, how much I'm going to put myself in the game, right? So it is about getting your head straight, getting your heart straight, and then taking the action.
And the thing I love about it is both components are definitely there, meaning subconscious and conscious activities. I loved what you said is being aware. That's number one. Be aware that, so, to be aware that there's issues. Like I like to say, I have a team and I teach and preach to them catch yourself if you ever say anything that starts with I have to. And think about that. Like, I have to do the dishes, and nobody likes to do the dishes. I don't. Well, I shouldn't say nobody, but I know I don't. Most people don't. Instead, reframe that and say, I get to. So be aware that you say, I have to. Now you say, I get to, and that just changes everything. I get to. What does that mean? I mean, that's a very subtle. Now the subconscious takes over and says, oh, yeah, I get to. I'm blessed. I have dishes to wash. I have a sink to wash.
Exactly. I have dishes to wash. Like, there are people on this world that don't have dishes, don't have a sink.
Exactly.
Right? So we're very privileged and blessed to have the things that we have in our life. So exactly, it's not a have to, it's a get to.
Exactly. And so from the conscious perspective, easy tools and techniques like that can literally start reshaping how you think each and every day. And it all comes first, as you said, Micaela, with awareness, being aware that you actually uttered those words out loud or even thought them internally.
Right.
Reframe it really quick, as fast as possible. I love this topic. We could talk about nothing but mindset all night, and I would be happy.
I know, same here. We can geek out for,
yes, absolutely.
the rest of the night, right?
In fact, I'm going to be doing some timeline therapy this weekend for a client. I can't wait.
I love
actually,
timeline.
Yeah, that was my first ever experience on the receiving end, was releasing fear. And wow, I just said, I have got to learn this so I can help others, because that was amazing. Yeah. And we're just talking about one of the 5 major negative emotions. That was like, wow. So let's shift gears a little bit, if we might, and go into the area of business. And the thing is, it's difficult oftentimes I see it all the time. People have a difficult time in acquiring clients, in bringing on new, I guess we can call them leads. It's just that's got kind of a negative connotation anymore, but they're, getting more eyeballs to our business, to our message, so that we can then help them. It's about helping them and serving them. And how do you, Micaela, this is something I'm always curious about. This comes from like a marketing sense. How do you build your successful customer base? What means do you, and I get it, there are many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But what comes to the top of your head as maybe the 1 or 2 go-tos that you use to create that successful customer base?
Yeah. Well, I have a lot to say about this topic, actually, because I do lead a women's business club here in Los Angeles called Global Woman Club. And I see it with a lot of my members and a lot of the and also my clients as well, that we say that we want more clients, yet we're not willing to take the actions and to do the necessary things that it requires us to do to get more clients. So, and I say this because I'm now on the other side, but I was once those people, right? But never really heard anybody kind of state it in that way to me. So, and I understand, because we all have our stuff and we all have reasons why we're afraid to put ourselves out there, afraid to be seen, afraid of rejection, ridicule, embarrassment, whatever that is. And so it's hard. Yet we also get to really kind of have a little chat with ourselves and say, okay, wait a minute. If I say I want clients, I can't just sit here and twiddle my thumbs and hope and wish that clients are going to come knocking on my door. I've got to take action, and I've got to put myself out there. So the first and foremost thing that I would tell people is you got to put yourself out there. So what does that look like? Well, networking, start talking to people, start looking for speaking engagements, go speak about what you're passionate about, what you feel you're an expert in, what that comes easy for you, right? What comes easy for you and difficult for other people. Those are great things to start speaking on. And really being courageous, even if you have that sense of fear of what might happen or what people might think, is really still taking action even though you're afraid. Because that's when you're going to really build that inner confidence, and you're going to see the results, right? I know that it wasn't until I really stepped out there and took that courageous step into speaking, into having my voice heard and speaking my truth, that I started seeing people resonate. And the people that started resonating with me eventually became either became clients or became people that I was networking, part of my network, so that I could either joint venture with them or refer people to them, or they refer to me. So the other thing that I want to tell people is, like, when you are putting yourself out there, don't always think, okay, I gotta get someone, I gotta get a client, because it's not about getting a client. It's about putting yourself out there, allowing people to hear what you have to offer, and about hearing your heart and your passion and your truth, and then having them auto-select themselves in it. And then the people who auto-select themselves into your space, they might then become clients, but they might not. So it's really about creating the connection and creating the relationships that then will fruit into something. It's about really planting seeds. But it starts from taking that action, right? And so it's a long-winded way to answer your question, but it would be definitely just starting to put yourself out there through networking and speaking and sharing what you have, so people know. Because if you're not sharing, people don't know what you're about.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Micaela just shared with you is worth untold amounts of money. I'm not kidding. I mean, I got writer's cramp. I was taking notes in the back because everything she just said was so spot on and so, like, perfect. All of it. It was amazing. Put yourself out there. I like to say, just show up and continue to do so. And that, yes, speak. Thank you for saying that. Yes, get out there and speak, and, get out of your comfort zone. If you're feeling afraid and you want to develop courage, the one way to do it is to do it and to do it over and over, right? And the more you get out of your comfort zone, the more success you're going to find. Get in the habit of being uncomfortable. And I forgot who said it, but someone said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's the way you're going to succeed.
And someone else said 80% of the work is showing up, right?
Yes.
Because it's us, it's us efforting inside our head through all of our resistance, our thoughts, our conditions, but really our considerations. That's what is the word that I was looking for, is our considerations of why we shouldn't do it, right? So 80% of the work is going through all that interior conversation and interior turmoil to get there. And then 20% is easy. It's just you being there, right? And sharing yourself.
You said the magic word, resistance. That is the magic word. And here's the beautiful tie-in with this. Get together with Micaela and have her take you through timeline process of releasing fear. That will reduce, if not eliminate, much of the resistance that is going on in your head when you come up to things where it's good for you and you feel that discomfort. That's usually your subconscious telling you you're on the right track. Now just push, nudge, go. Once you go through the timeline therapy with Micaela, then that resistance is greatly reduced, if not gone. And you will now start moving forward in all the areas that are better and more empowering for you to improve in business and personal relationships.
Yeah, and I would also say, if you feel uncomfortable, that's the reason why you should do it. Because the more uncomfortable you feel, the more, and you feel called to it, that means that's where you're supposed to go. So if you feel uncomfortable speaking in front of a crowd, do it. If you feel uncomfortable picking up the call, following up on all the business cards that you got at an event, do it. Right?
Yeah,
Feel uncomfortable showing up on a show like this and talking about what you do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you just make it conversational, I was just going to say there are different ways for you to cut your teeth. Like some would say, well, where do I don't even know how to get on someone's stage, Brian or Micaela. How do I do that? You can create your own, like I've done here. In fact, I will peel the curtain back. I used to speak on stage quite often and love every moment of it. I took a step back to rebuild. I completely transformed and changed my business model completely, literally 5 months ago. And so I said, I'm going to stop speaking from stage and build my platform and then get back up there. What we're doing now, this live show, is my way of continuing to show up and be on quote unquote stage until I'm ready to get back there on the physical stage.
That's great.
And put together after the platform's put together. And so this would be a perfect way for anybody can do this. You all know this now. Facebook Live, get your phone out, start practicing. Just go live. You get a friend to come on, interview them, have fun, enjoy it. Just do it. That's the bottom line. That's what Micaela is telling you. Is just do it. That's kind of like a Nike commercial, but to steal from their slogan. It's so perfect.
Yes, exactly. And actually, for those who are listening, there are lots of organizations just like Global Woman, right? So Global Woman is a speaking and PR platform. So when you come to our events, as a member, you get to speak. You get to actually, it's a place for you to practice and show up and tweet, test and tweak. And, so there are lots of organizations out there that you can join and just start.
That's perfect example of, a kind, loving, supportive environment with which to do that. That's a great place because now your confidence can get boosted to the point where now you can step out of the nest and go speak elsewhere outside of that comfort. And again, you want to do that. So don't just stick with a comfortable area with one group. Always look for that next step out. If you're asked to speak, a guest speak, never say no, no matter how small the crowd or even what the topic is, unless it's outside of your value system. But that's one thing I learned is never say no. I've guest spoken on a young man's stage. He barely was in college. And it was about poetry, a class or a group about poetry. I talked about entrepreneurship. I found a way to make it work. Just always say yes. Okay. Always say yes. That's just my tip for the night.
Just like, what was his name? Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Yes, Man? Is that the movie?
My favorite, one of my favorites. I've used that in my presentation when I was speaking from stage. Yeah. It's one of my slides with him there on it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Isn't it great? And it's amazing. It's a great depiction of what happens when you're always open and you're just saying yes to life, yes to what comes into your space. And at the end, everything's beautiful, right? So
that could literally be something that they use as a curriculum in school for entrepreneurialism is Yes Man, the movie. You got to take it with a grain of salt, recognize it is a comedy. So you don't want to go crazy and say yes to absolutely everything. And they talk about that in the movie. Yeah. But it is a lesson, isn't it? It's a great lesson. And it really resonated with me. I'm like, that's how you succeed in life is you look for ways to say yes rather than no. Our typical go-to is, I don't have the time. No, I don't have the money. No. That's because we were ingrained with the word no from growing up, Don't touch that. Put that away. Put that down.
Yeah. The human experience.
There you go. I've met a lot of people in the business arena. Some are in it, obviously, to me, for a quick kill, to get in, to make some quick money, and to get out and really not worry about any value they left behind. I think we've all met people like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's that could be a success pattern for short-term success, but long-term, it's not something that lasts. And some people will go beyond normal means, to succeed at all costs, no matter what. I don't care who I leave in my wake, my trail that I've run over. And so I'm curious, because this comes up a lot where, people that are struggling to succeed want to have guidance and know, well, how far should I take that? And what are the rules governing that to keep me in a space of value, but I still need to stretch myself a little bit. So in that light, Micaela, what would you tell them? Like, how far are you personally willing to go to succeed? What would you go to? What extent? I'll just let you answer that if you can, to help the people out that are struggling with that issue.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on your interpretation of what are the costs, right? So the way that I would interpret that is, what are the prices that I would be willing to pay, right? So what are the prices that I would be willing to pay to succeed? Well, the prices that I would be willing to pay would be sleepless nights, working hard, putting a lot of effort, being ridiculed, being rejected, right? Maybe having things take longer than they would, maybe having to invest more money than I thought, right? So those are the prices that I have been and am still willing to pay, because you have to, success doesn't come, nobody's entitled to success, right? It is something that you get to earn based on the value that you provide. And yes, like you said, Brian, there are some people that kind of maybe do things not honestly and not kosher, right? That aren't kosher. But if you're willing to stand in your value, stand in your truth, be honest, be transparent, and then willing to take a look at the prices that you're willing to pay from a standpoint, okay, well, what am I willing to do? I know I'm willing to keep going, right? I'm just willing to keep going. Like, I don't take no for an answer. I just keep finding a way to figure it out. And that's worked for me, because I'm a pretty big risk taker. I will take risk. I take inspired action. Some people, that's uncomfortable. So for some people that might not be the way, but for me specifically, I go for it. So sometimes that means I might lose something. I might lose money. Maybe I might lose time or sleep. But that's kind of, it's the keep going. It's just kind of keep going and take a look at what prices you're willing to pay for it.
I'm glad you brought up the part about risk taking, because that is yet another attribute of successful entrepreneurs. It's almost impossible to become successful if you are adverse to taking risk.
Yeah.
It just comes down to how big a risk are you willing to take for yourself in your own personal situation, and that's for you to decide. Mm-hmm. And yes, it would be a good idea to bring on, say, a business coach and have someone help you along that path, who's been there, who's done that, who has maybe regrets about taking it a little too far. And look, we're all human, and that happens. I've done it. I've gone way too far. Oh my gosh. I did so at the expense of my relationship at the time with my wife. And this is many years ago. Thankfully, she communicated with me, and she was honest, and I was able to help right that ship. And now we're like, two peas in a pod. And but I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We're all human. It will never be perfect, will it?
No. It's never going to be perfect, nor look the way you think.
That is so true. That is so true. And that's why being flexible is so important. Another attribute. And with neuro-linguistic programming and tools like that, that's where you can become more like that. You can be more flexible. You can be aware of what you're thinking and saying and right the ship immediately, and just start down a path of, progress, of performance, of moving forward, rather than just, trying to wing it. And, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. All you need to do is model success. That's it. Yeah. All you need to do is model Micaela and people like her that I've had on the show. Just model what they're doing, meaning copy. Micaela, does everyone watching and listening, do they have your permission to copy you, to follow your advice and do what you've been telling people that you do, that help you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because first of all, if I can do it, everybody can do it, right? And if I've achieved it, why wouldn't I want everybody else to have the same?
Exactly.
Right.
So oftentimes when I use the word model instead of copy, because of the connotation that brings with it, that brings back thoughts of, elementary school and rulers that would smack the back of hands for those who were cheating. Back in my day, they were allowed to do that. But it comes up with a negative connotation. But really, modeling, you have absolute permission. It's not just permission. It's you must. It's a necessity. It's a requirement for success, is to model those who have preceded you. And guess what? What do you think? Maybe Micaela modeled some people to get where she is now? Answer is yes. Yeah. And so just continue the process. Do what successful people do. Follow the recipe for success. You only need one. One recipe is all you need. There's many out there. Just pick one. And one's right next to me. And then just follow. And guess what? It'll be a much easier path than if you tried to reinvent the wheel. That's an ego play. If you're trying to do it all on yourself, by yourself, I used to do it. I've got ego. Everyone's got ego. But the sooner you can let go of that ego and allow help to come in, get coaches, get help, get a team, and get training for your mind through Micaela and her team, then, now you're on the path to success big time, quickly, much quicker than before. Let's put it that way. Because success, like you said, doesn't come that quick, but you do need to be persistent, have discipline, and but you need to have the right tools, coaches, and resources.
Yeah, for sure.
Well. There's a lot.
And the other thing, Brian, that I wanted to say is you can model, right? But then you make it your own. I've modeled people, but I've put my own spin to things, my own personality. So you can model, for example, me or Brian, and then just put your little flavor to it, your little tweak. It doesn't have to look exactly, but just what feels good to you, you just do it.
And that's a great addition, because now you are being authentic to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And those that are meant to connect with you will be connecting with you.
Exactly.
Because you're doing it from your own space, your own twist. If you're just mimicking like a robot of like someone else who's successful, and you're doing everything exactly the way they did it, well, they're going to be falling in love with that other person, not you.
Or it might not feel authentic to you. Just like you said, I remember many years ago, I was coaching with someone, and this coach, she was advising that it was just something that didn't feel authentic to me. It felt kind of like slick or slimy in a way, like the way that she was doing it. So it didn't resonate with me. So I wasn't gonna do that. That didn't feel right to me, right? So I just shifted it to what made it feel good to me, right?
Oh, man, you bring up another great point. My goodness. So just listen to what she just said, everyone. She was working with someone that there was no value. I won't say no, but there was not a full value alignment. Right. Their values were not, the same across the board. And the cool thing is, instead of just shunning what she learned from this individual altogether, she took those things that she could use and implemented them and integrated them into her own approach. And this is something very important. I have seen so many speakers on stage. I've gone to way too many events over my life. But some are like that shaky snake oil salesman and women, and others are perfect and wonderful and integrity based. I learned from every single one of them. In fact, one of the most shadiest of the people that I ever saw, I'm not going to mention any names, I learned a lot from that individual and incorporated some of what I learned into my very next presentation. And so it's okay to learn from even those that you're not in value alignment from. That's what I got from what you just said, Micaela, and that's phenomenal. And
you find your own alignment.
Yes.
You find your own alignment. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken from stage. I've been I've been given advice to dress certain ways. I'm like, I don't dress that way, but okay, I'll do it. And then I just don't feel right. It's little things. That's not. There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like wearing a team uniform in a sense, but so it wasn't that big a deal, but it could be something that subtle as well.
Yeah.
Make it your own when it is your own place to do that. Like if you're helping someone else out, well, it's best to probably conform with them as long as it doesn't go too far out of your value system, which dressing a certain way that didn't go out of mine at all. It was just different. It was like, I don't like to wear stuff like this, but okay, I'll do it. Phenomenal. My goodness. You have given so much value in our short time already. It's just unbelievable. So you're like the perfect human being, right? You've never, ever stumbled. Everything is, the second you learned and modeled the right things, everything just fit. It was perfect. Never had an issue from that day forward, right?
Or should I say,
So, and so to appeal to those that are human like us,
right?
What would you say and this is from a learning standpoint, what would you say some of the biggest, maybe just pick one of the biggest mistakes or oops that you've had or experienced that you learned from that helped propel you even farther into the realm of success?
Ooh, man. There's so many to think of. I think the biggest is probably not trusting myself. So finding myself in situations where maybe I could have put myself forward and I didn't. I held back, and then it came back to bite me, right? So those are situations. Other situations could be maybe just not communicating clearly. That's another other places where maybe I was too scared to either communicate exactly what I felt or what I thought, and then in not communicating, then there was a big miscommunication, right? So those would probably be the bigger ones. You know, it's just being clear, not holding back, and having and communicating authentically.
And see, just the fact that you say those, that's testament right there to, people be aware, like Micaela is, about those things that happen, because you use those as learning points, and you can improve from there. And it doesn't mean you're ever going to be perfect and you'll never make that mistake again, but it'll be, less, there'll be less probability that will ever happen. Not trusting myself, that could also be, because it's nerve-wracking. It's going to get you out of your comfort zone. I know I can do this, but daggone it, I'm nervous, right? And then not communicating clearly. My goodness. I mean, learning to take cause for all communication is huge. Yeah. If two people, if I'm talking with somebody and they don't get what I'm saying, I've learned to say, well, that's on me. I'm either not listening intently enough, or I'm not communicating in their language well enough. And so when I take that, we get to the solution much faster. And it's kind of like, for guys, it's like, that's another ego swallower. You're like, oh, this is on me. I'm messing up, and no one wants to be wrong, right?
No, and actually, you bring up a point. Like we're 100% responsible in every situation. So like if you and I, Brian, got into a discussion or a disagreement, I'm 100% responsible. You're 100% responsible. So I'm 100% responsible of how I show up and how I interpret, and same for you. And then somewhere in between there, we find a common ground where we can either agree to disagree, or we agree or we disagree, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's taking ownership of ourselves, and taking over ownership and being responsible for what we create, even if it's not what we want to create.
Exactly. And for those of you that are in business, watching and listening, think about how this can impact you in your communication with your current clients, with your future clients, to be at cause and say, well, I'm not getting this point across properly, so let me adjust myself to enable that to happen, either by listening more intently or rewording. And, a lot of this, you can learn techniques using neuro-linguistic programming on better communication skills. There are so many cool ways to do it. I'm not going to give them away here, but neuro-linguistic programming is often thought of mostly as a personal development tool, which it is, and it can be, and I have applied it directly to business. In fact, that's how I learned it, was in a business-orientated setting, I guess, if that's even a word, oriented. And so I learned it first on how to use it more effectively for communicating with, like I said, clients, team members of your team, as just part of what we utilize NLP for. There's so many, it's so vast, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Whew. And I guess that's one of the messages I want to put forth to everyone watching, is to connect with Micaela. There are several NLP practitioners across at least the United States that I'm familiar with. If for any reason, you're unable to come to LA, maybe you're watching from the East Coast and you just can't make it, let's have a discussion and figure it out. Because between myself, Micaela, and our respective connection bases, we can hook you up, get you set up either way. But I would first recommend someone that I've worked with and know personally, like this young lady to my left.
Thank you.
Because that's what this show is also partly for me to have you showcased. That's what I want, because that's what we do. It's help others to get the word out, to, shout the word, promote you, help market you. I mean, I'm telling the truth. This is what we're doing. I'm helping to market.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that, because these are ways on how we put ourselves out there, right? So yeah, absolutely. If anybody's interested in NLP, I actually combine NLP with emotion code. So emotion code is more of a heart-based modality. So I combine the two together because I feel that when I combine the two together, I can actually serve my clients in a more well-rounded and holistic way. So I use both modalities when I work with people.
Love it. Yeah, and I've looked at Into. I have not gone all the way through, but like EFT and others to do the same thing, to kind of stack, if you will, the different technologies on each other. Because why not? You just be more empowering, more powerful. So there, you heard it right here. You get it all, not just one amazing science and technology, but two, and I'm sure there's more. Because after reading that bio, I'm like, my goodness, that's amazing. All right, here, let's lighten the load a little bit. That was kind of a big question about making mistakes, and I loved your honesty about it. And you thought it through. You could tell it was authentic, and we've all been there. I think every one of us has been there, and those can be big mistakes. They can be very costly. And learning from them and being aware of them first, and then learning is very important. But when it gets down to it, we're doing all of this for a certain reason, right? We're serving others. We're looking to earn an income so we can serve even more and scale our business. But when it gets down to it, for you personally, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Well, I asked that question to myself many years ago when I actually started on my own journey of evolution and self-discovery and really stepping into that bigger conversation for myself. And what I discovered when I asked myself that question, I actually asked myself two questions. What do I love and what makes me happy? And obviously, what do I love? I love my family, I love traveling, all of those things. But when I thought about what makes me happy, the biggest answer that I got was making other people happy. Like, what makes me happy is really supporting someone else's journey of evolution. Because I know where I was before, and I know where I am now. I know the journey that it took from me to go from A to B, and I know that it's totally possible for everybody else as well. And so I get the most joy and pleasure from experiencing transformation. And when I experience other people's transformation, they're happy, and so then I'm happy as well.
True to form, that you are a servant first based, heartfelt entrepreneur. Could tell that from the get-go, and that's very common. I love it. The same thing. I mean, that was resonating with me so big. As before I jumped and transitioned my business into what I'm doing now, I was in the fitness arena, and nothing made me happier than seeing their progress.
Right.
We get on weekly calls and just get an update how they're doing. Once a month, do measurements, not every week, and then see how they're improving. Listen to what they're saying. I used NLP in this fitness approach, so it was both mental and physical. And they hear their reactions, their responses from people that they know, saying you seem different. What's going on? In a good way. And it's because we just finished an NLP session, a breakthrough session the weekend before. Just stuff like that. It makes you swell up with happiness, with pride, with joy that you had a positive impact on another individual. And that's more than money. That's, I think, what makes the world go around. We need money.
I think so too.
That's like it's an artifact of what we do, but it's not the reason why we do what we do. Cool. Sure. I knew that was.
You knew that was going to be my answer?
Of course. I'm a mind reader too. No, I'm kidding. Now, you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time now. And have you ever had an actual job?
Oh, yes.
And so now you've seen both sides, right?
Yes.
And so this one I love to ask because the reaction is usually quick, but it doesn't matter. There's no competition here. But if you were to characterize your life in one word, if you were to characterize your life as an entrepreneur in one word, what would that word be?
Ooh, as one word, as an entrepreneur,
Yes.
daring.
Ooh, love that. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, because I dare. I've gotten to a place where I can say that I dare to stand out. I dare to serve. I dare to expand. I dare to share. Right. So yeah.
I see a book in you on that title. Daring. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Okay. I'm going to write that down.
Yes.
Wait, where's my pen and paper?
And we actually have a good friend of mine, Ken Roshan, who's on watching, and he commented earlier that can help you with that if you need any assistance in writing a book.
Okay.
He's helping me with my book. I'm writing Mind, Body, Business as we speak.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's an amazing gentleman. If you want a connection later, let me know. Then I can set that up for you. He's our amazing guy. He was on the show as well.
Oh, cool.
We're getting close to the end here, and there's one more question that I love to end all of my shows with. It's kind of it's an intriguing question, similar to in one word, characterize your life as an entrepreneur. Similar in that the answers are quite wide and varied to the question I'm about to pose. And the interesting thing is, no two answers as of yet. I've done over 70 shows now at the time of doing this one, and no two answers have been identical yet. It's so cool. And so if it takes you some time to think of the answer, don't worry about it. That's cool.
Okay.
Do whatever works for you. If it comes to you immediately, then it comes to you immediately. If it comes to you 3 minutes from now, then it's okay. It's your answer. It's very personal to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
With that said, before we jump into that, I promised those that are watching live that I would show them a way that they could win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico. Here is exactly how you go about doing that. So you now have our permission to take out your phones if you're not already watching on your phone, and text the word PEAK, P-E-A-K, to the phone number of 661-535-1624. So you want to punch in the numbers if you're going to call it of 661-535-1624, and then in a little message area, just punch in the word PEAK, P-E-A-K, and that will come directly to my Power Texting account. Again, this is sponsored by Power Texting, and I'm using their very functionality, their technology to give away this wonderful, amazing prize. So go ahead and text the word PEAK to 661-535-1624, and we'll announce a winner. I will message you directly through Facebook. We'll get that information from you after the winner is chosen. Do that right now, real quick. Finish up, because we're going to come back with our closing question, our amazing closing question for the amazing Micaela Passeri. Whew.
Yes, you got it.
I'm nailing that tonight. That's good. That's better than normal. Okay. Now, in all seriousness, are you ready for this wonderful question?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Micaela,
yes.
How do you define success?
Ooh, that's a good one. So success to me is really the degree to which you engage. So it's the degree that you engage in life is to the degree that you're going to be successful. So if you just sit on your couch and do nothing, what's going to happen? You're probably not going to be that successful. But if you actually step outside your comfort zone, take action, go out there, make things happen, you're probably going to get to a certain degree and level of success. So I would say it's really how you engage with life, how you engage with your business, how you engage with your clients, how you engage in your marketing, all of it. And so it's the degree of your engagement. That's what I would say.
Wonderful and true to form. Yet again, a different answer than everyone previous to you, which is phenomenal, because it's a very personal, it's subject. It's very, is it subjective or objective? I always get that mixed up.
Subjective.
Thank you. It's unique to each individual. what their definition of success is, and that's phenomenal. So it's basically, you feel your success if you are participating and playing full out. In another way to, and that's phenomenal. I love that definition. In fact, I don't dislike a single definition of success that we've had on the prior 69 plus shows.
They're all good.
Amazing. Yes. And oh, by the way, we do have one more gift for everyone watching and listening. And that gift comes by way of this young lady sitting to my left right now. So if you'd like to describe what that is and how folks can get to it, I will do my part to put up the information as you send that out or talk about it. So go ahead.
Absolutely. So, my specialty is emotional intelligence, otherwise known as EQ. And so if any of you listening or watching want to know the 5 emotional intelligence, the key steps to becoming a master in your life and business, you can go to www.youreq.info. So youreq.info, and you can fill in the little boxes there, and you will be emailed the cute little download with the 5 keys to life and business masteries, the 5 emotional intelligence keys. You can also, if you're not in front of your computer and maybe you're on your phone, you can also text EQ to 31966. I think that's it, right? 31966.
I've got 31996 on the screen.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there you go. So 31996.
I hope that's right.
No, it is. I was just, I'm a little dyslexic. So yeah, so text EQ to 31996 and you'll get the same PDF emailed to your inbox.
Fantastic. Wow. What an amazing, amazing show. So much value.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. Thank you, because, you're recovering from a little cold or an illness that had you down just recently. Thank you for showing up. Like you're practicing what you preach. This woman, you want to get connected with her. And to do that, what's the best way for them to connect with you directly?
Well, I mean, they could look me up on Facebook under my name, Micaela Passeri. You can email me at micaela@loveyourevolution.com. Or you can call my office, 424-258-0428.
All right. Awesome. Well, Micaela, we're going to call this a show, a very successful one, a very value-packed one.
Thank you.
My goodness. I think I'm going to start charging for people to watch our live shows because the value is just incredible. Appreciate you so very much. I know you have things
so
to.
Much. Yeah, thank you.
I know you have things to get to right after the show is over, so I don't want to detain you any further. On behalf of Micaela Passeri, this is Brian Kelly, and this has been the Mind Body Business Show. We'll see you again next week. Until then, so long and be blessed all. Bye-bye now.
Ciao.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.